YouTube Nation and Dog Pound. Welcome to another episode of Talking UFC and Wrestling. And this is actually a reaction video. So normally, I don't watch Impact Wrestling. Normally, I just watch WWE and AEW. And within that, I don't watch the pay-per-views because I just don't. Normally, I only watch Monday Night Raw, which lately has been horrible. AEW Dynamite, which has been a pretty good show. Not great, but pretty good. And Friday Night SmackDown, which has been knocking it out of the park almost every week. Now, I was able to catch bits and pieces of AEW's pay-per-view, Revolution, on Sunday, and I was able to watch the exploding barbed wire death match between Kenny Omega and Jon Moxley, formerly Dean Ambrose. That match, it was good, but like all week I was like, oh my god, it's an exploding barbed wire death match. There's going to be explosions, it's going to be bloody, it's going to be gory, it's going to be violent, it's not going to be for the faint of heart. And it kind of was. I mean, like, both competitors slammed their opponent into the barbed wire and set off explosions, but it kind of under-delivered a little bit. And then Kenny Omega was saying, oh, there's going to be a whole big explosion at the end of the match, and, you know, the whole ring's going to explode, and that didn't happen. There were just sparklers, and Jon Moxley's old friend, Eddie Kingston, comes out, covers Jon Moxley, thinking, I gotta save him, and nothing. So why am I telling you all this? Well, I just watched the end of Impact Wrestling, which again, I don't normally watch Impact Wrestling. I just don't. Like I said, I watch WWE and AEW. But I'm just like, okay, AEW and Impact have kind of been working together, so let me watch it. And I tuned in at the perfect time. Because Moose, the TNA World Heavyweight Champion, was in the ring saying to Scott D'Amore, who I guess is the general manager of Impact Wrestling, like, I hear you have big news, so I'm not leaving my ring until you come out here and give me the news. So Scott D'Amore comes out and goes, okay, but before I give you the news, I need to bring out the Impact World Champion, Rich Swann. So they do that, and then here comes the news. It came in two parts. Number one, at the pay-per-view on, I believe it's Saturday, it's called Sacrifice, streaming exclusively on like Impact Plus or wherever they do pay-per-views. It's going to be Moose versus Rich Swann, not for the Impact World title, not for the TNA World title, but for both. It's going to be a winner takes all. So, for a while, Moose has been walking around with this TNA World Championship belt, but he wasn't actually the champion until a few weeks ago when Scott D'Amore said, okay, you want a championship? Here you go. I'm making the TNA World Championship an official title of Impact. So now, Saturday's match between Rich Swann and Moose is a winner-takes-all match. Whoever wins is going to be both the Impact World Champion and the TNA World Champion. I think I'm saying that right. However, the news didn't stop there, because Scott D'Amore then said, however, your work is not done. because at our next pay-per-view on April 24th, which I guess that pay-per-view is called Rebellion, whoever is the champion, Rich Swann or Moose, I'm guessing it's going to be Rich Swann, is going to face Kenny Omega, the AEW World Champion, in a winner-takes-all match. You want to talk about kicking the door down? That's how you freaking do it. That's how you do it. You kick that door down. Now, I think I've heard recently that WWE NXT is moving to Tuesdays. That means they're going to be competing with Impact Wrestling. However, I don't see this as a bad thing. Why? Because think about this. AEW and Impact Wrestling are kind of working in a partnership. Or they aren't kind of working in a partnership. They are working in a partnership. Like, we've seen AEW wrestlers show up on Impact. We've seen Impact wrestlers show up on AEW. Ethan Page, who was part of a tag team in Impact, made his AEW debut in the Face of the Revolution ladder match at the Revolution pay-per-view on Sunday, which I'm glad I didn't spend the money on it, because it sounds like it was okay pay-per-view, but not worth it. I personally would rather watch a UFC pay-per-view, which I will address the next pay-per-view in a different video. But just know, I am super, super excited about it, because Cleveland's first champion from the year 2016, Stipe Miocic, will be putting his title on the line in a rematch of UFC 220 when he defends against Francis Ngannou. Now, I believe Dana White has already said that the winner of this fight at UFC 260 on March 27th will be defend the title in their next title defense after this fight against John Jones. What? What? That's amazing. Of course I want Stipe, but Stipe against John Jones, that leaves me nervous. But anyway, more about that in a different video. So, here's the thing. I am a wrestling fan. Just a wrestling fan. And I've been watching both Monday Night Raw and Friday Night SmackDown a lot lately. And there are 3 matches that I would like to see happen at WrestleMania. Number 1, I want to see Bobby Lashley defend the WWE title not against Drew McIntyre, but rather against AJ Styles. Now hear me out. It's not that I don't want Drew McIntyre to become WWE champion again, because I do, and he totally deserves it. COVID screwed him out of getting that opportunity to, defeat Brock Lesnar and win the WWE Championship in front of a live, raucous WWE universe. So I want him to get the opportunity. However, Bobby Lashley, waited 16 or 17 years to win that title. I don't want it to be that he defends his title at Fastlane against probably The Miz, just because, and then he goes on to play Drew McIntyre and he loses it. I don't want that. So I'd rather see Bobby Lashley defend the title against AJ Styles. Now, hear me out. They're both heels, right? But they're heels in different ways. Bobby Lashley is just this all-powerful, I'm gonna freaking destroy you no matter who you are. He's that type of heel. AJ Styles is more I'm this cocky, he's more of a prick style heel where, like, he's cocky, he's like, oh, I'm amazing, look at my 7-foot bodyguard Omos. And I just think, even though they're both heels, you could still build a good feud between them. Secondly, Drew McIntyre against Sheamus in a steel cage match. Now, based on how last Monday's match ended, it seems like we're going to get that match at Fastlane rather than WrestleMania. And it seems like we are headed for Drew McIntyre against Bobby Lashley for the WWE Championship. However, I would like to see Sheamus against Drew in a steel cage match at WrestleMania. I think if that match were to happen, it would be a great way to finish the feud, and it could possibly steal the show. And then what you do is you put Drew McIntyre in the Money in the Bank ladder match. You have him win the briefcase, and then you have him cash it in on Bobby Lashley at a later date. It's not that I don't want Drew McIntyre to win the title. It's just that I want Bobby Lashley to have a long title reign, as I am a big fan of Bobby Lashley. I actually prefer some of the heels on WWE as opposed to the baby faces. Now, the third match that I would like to see at WrestleMania is one that already seems almost inevitable. Seth Rollins against Cesaro. Seth Rollins has always been one of my favorite superstars. And usually I like his heel gimmicks, and, I liked his run as Universal Champion when he defeated Brock Lesnar and all his other opponents. But this gimmick of the whole Monday Night Messiah, and now the SmackDown Savior, whatever his name he's going by now, it's just not working for me. But again, I love Seth Rollins anyway, and he's a great heel. I just don't like this version of him as a heel, if that makes sense. Cesaro seems to have gone through some sort of career renaissance. Now he's a babyface, and the crowd is absolutely loving him. So what I would like to see happen is you have Cesaro face Seth Rollins at WrestleMania, which, again, that seems inevitable. You have Cesaro win that match, and then you have Cesaro challenge for the Intercontinental title. Let him win that. Give him a decent title run, and then you have him go on to challenge the Universal title. That's just my thoughts. So that's going to do it for this quick reaction video. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did, punch that subscribe button like a UFC fighter, and punch that like button. We are 27 subscribers away from 400. That's right, I said we, because this channel is not just about me. It is about you, the viewer, and you, the subscriber. I like making this content for you. So, if you like what you heard, if you liked what you saw, and you liked what you heard, punch that like button like a UFC fighter, and give that subscribe button a big punch to the face. I will see you next time.